Step on up, sit down, twist off that bottle top, or crack open that can. And welcome to Porch Matters. This is Terry Cagle coming to you from my back porch. Yes, sir, yes, ma'am, the name of this show is authentic. On Porch Matters, our saying is this: big issues or just a friendly conversation, no topic is off limits. We take pride in being able to talk about anything with each other in an open discussion. Open discussion is one of the only ways to learn. Your perspective could be changed. You could change the perspective of others. Welcome to episode 10. As of this recording, we are also just over 1,000 downloads. Thank you very much for downloading and sharing the podcast. Really appreciate it. On this episode, Jason joins me on the porch to talk about what's been going on with us lately. And I give you a couple of places in Alabama that are hashtag FatBoy approved. Without further ado, let's get started. Jason, as always, welcome back to the porch, my friend.
Man, it's good to be here. I love this porch.
I do too, man. Weather feels good out here tonight.
Nice and crisp.
Just the way we like it, right?
That's right. That's right.
How's your week been and everything, man?
It's been pretty good. Celebrating the Halloween season and looking forward to the cooler temperatures, which are here now, thank goodness. Just trying to appreciate the time of year for what it is.
Well, since the temperature and everything's cooled off like it has, how's that affected business?
Not really affected us. The way that we, with the different kinds of work we do and the way we're contracted out, we only have generally 2 or 3 weeks out of the year where it slows down very much. And sometimes we don't even have that.
I understand.
Because Papa got to pay the bills, you hear me?
That's right.
Can't do it on no seasonal affair.
No, and in a lot of instances, the line of work that you're in, to some people is seasonal. But,
Oh, yeah, for some people it is, for sure. Yeah.
You've been able to manage to keep it year-round where a lot of people hasn't. So kudos to you, pal.
Well, thank you. My dad gets a lot of credit for that. It's a little bit easier in our industry, when you're primarily geared toward a commercial client base as opposed to a homeowner or residential client base. Those two animals are pretty different.
How so?
Well, with a commercial, they have a set budget and they have needs that are pretty much 12 months out of the year. And you just kind of go down the checklist on those needs. Whereas with a homeowner, it's a little bit more income sensitive. And if they can save a little money at this time or at that time, then they tend to do it, just like any of us trying to budget our home finances.
This time of year, people are going to be cutting back on a lot of that on the residential side to save up for Christmas, I'm sure.
Oh, goodness, yeah, definitely.
My week went all right.
Did you go to Kentucky?
Yes, I did.
How many times?
One time.
One time.
It was just on Friday. I had some personal business to handle on Wednesday. I was able to get a goal accomplished that I had set earlier this year. Felt a little bit of a sense of accomplishment. It's not much, but it's a nice reminder that whenever you set a goal and you actually stick with it, you follow through, you take advantage of an opportunity, and you're able to get it done, feels pretty good. It's nothing big, but it can lead to something big for me in my career at a later date. A little bit of personal business I had to take off work on Wednesday to handle. That fell through, so I already had the day scheduled to be off anyway, so I went to the courthouse and took my test and everything to get my endorsements for my commercial driver's license.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily looking to leave my current employer, but upon future possibilities with the rest of the endorsements and everything, they're wide open. Got to keep your options open. If 2020's taught us anything, the economy can be real high 1 minute and then just bam. It was a bad reminder of what 2008 taught us that we didn't pay attention to.
Well, I'm going to tell you, brother, you're exactly right. You're 100% right. 2008 was devastating for us financially and for our business. So I learned, I mean, it was absolutely traumatic. So I learned from that. Now, have I applied it as I need to all the time? No, probably not. When times are good, you have a tendency to think it's always going to be this way.
And you get comfortable too.
You get comfortable, and that is your enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is your enemy. But but you're right, because a working man or woman, basically, you've got three things that are essential to providing for you and for your family. That's your skill set, your body, and your brain. And those three things to a working man are absolutely just as important as iPhones are to Apple.
Absolutely.
But the thing about it is, if you lose one of those, you're not as viable.
No, you're not.
So I think that's a great thing, man. I'm proud of you. Keep pushing, brother. You're using that noodle.
I'm trying to.
Not that noodle. The other noodle. The noodle. You know what noodle I'm talking about.
I know the noodle you're talking about, brother.
The good noodle. Yeah. Not the bad noodle.
Did you do anything fun this weekend?
At the little volunteer fire department where I volunteer on the board. I'm not a firefighter, never have been, but this is how I can support those guys, because it's incredible to be a part of something that you don't get paid to do, because a lot of fire departments are volunteer, and to be willing to go at a moment's notice. So I have a lot of respect for volunteer firefighters. But anyway, we had our first trunk or treat that we've had in many, many years. And it was a great success. And it was really fun. I dressed up like Michael Myers. We got the nice mask, not the cheap mask, the nice Halloween 2 version mask.
No, you went all out.
Oh, went all out. I got a pair of blue coveralls and had on my work boots. Kay, she had on hers. We had stickers on our shirts. Mine said Big Michael, hers said Little Michael. So you got the 6-foot version and the 5-foot version. We just had a great time, man. Seeing all those kids and seeing them have fun and enjoy something that I enjoyed so much. It was great. Better than any night out on the town.
You know how I enjoy road trips, right?
You're a road trip king. Well, I can't keep up with you. It's like that game. Where's Waldo? Where's Cagle? Because every time I see you on social media, you're somewhere, and I'm thinking he probably drove across 2 states just because he liked the cheeseburger at that joint.
There's a lot of truth in that statement.
Oh, I know.
There is a lot of truth in that statement. I will drive. I've said this on the show already. I will drive to Nashville just for pizza. I mean, that's just me. That's
great.
That's one thing that me and my mother started doing years ago after Dad passed away. So that's just a way for us to get away. And the way we look at it, the fun is always in the destination, but the fun is in the journey.
Yeah, that's true.
And going right along with that, me and Stacy had a little bit of a road trip yesterday. So,
I saw something about that. Where did you guys go?
Well, the plan was to go over to Mentone and take her down through the Little River Canyon.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't a solid plan necessarily. It was just mainly the idea, the goal, however you want to look at it. Instead of going the direct way up there, mid-direction, we kind of went the long way, enjoyed the ride. She's always great company.
Well, you better be. I'm glad. It's good you said that.
Well, of course I'm going to say that.
She might be listening to this.
I know she's listening to this, and I am not going to lie to her on this show with everybody else that's listening. She is great company. I always have fun with her.
Oh, good.
And we had some really good, deep conversation. And, I really enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, had some great conversation, and we ended up turning off of 278, going up 79, because I love Gunnersville Lake. I really do. I don't know why, but I have fell in love with that lake almost at first sight. And I got a couple of friends like, why? Because we all grew up on Smith Lake.
Right.
And they're like, it's not even that deep. And one that's listening in particular, one of my closest friends, her name's Kelly. We grew up together. Shout out to you, Kelly, if you happen to be listening to this. She sent me info on it and talking about how in only some of the deepest spots of it, it's only like 50 or 60 feet deep. And the average depth of it's like 10 to 15 feet. Whereas we grew up on Smith Lake, where some of the average depths in that main channel is 150 to 200 feet.
Oh, yeah. Really deep is like 300.
Yes.
If you want to get down to the cold water, it's
Yes.
300.
And they, you don't want to get off down in those treetops.
No.
That's that's another show for another time, my friend.
Yes.
But I went up 79, went up through Scottsboro, came back across through Rainsville, hit the interstate, went up, then went into Mentone. By the time we got to DeSoto State Park and everything, that's where we was going to start, basically, kind of go down. Got up there, the little park attendant said, "Oh, we're fixing to close." I was like, "No." But we ended up going on down and going down to one of the main attractions, and I posted a picture of it and everything on my Facebook page. I'll be more than happy to share it on a group page and everything, but it's a beautiful waterfall whenever the river's full after it rains. So that was her first time being over there. I still owe her another trip because she didn't see everything. Snuck around back over to Fort Payne and went to one of my favorite chains to eat at, is Jefferson's Wings. Jefferson's Wings was actually started in Jacksonville, Alabama. They've got several other locations and everything around the state and right around, I think there's one in Georgia, maybe. I'm not real sure. They serve really fantastic wings. They are Fat Boy approved. And now they are hashtag Stacy approved as well. And so are those loaded cheese fries. I have got to get back on my diet. But the food is so good. Oh, you laugh. I'm going to carry you to Jefferson's and let you eat some of those fries.
Oh, hey.
I got a lot of money invested in this gut, brother. I can tell you, I can point you to the good food. I'm telling you.
Oh, I no doubt about that. No doubt about that. I take your word for it.
So, and
You
today,
never let me down.
No, I ain't gonna let you down. And today, it's been a while since my mother, my grandmother, my great aunt, and me went on a little road trip. So it's been a minute. Got them out of the house. Plan was to go up to Mount Cheaha State Park because they've got a restaurant up there that we were wanting to try. At least me and Mom was anyway. Made the trek over there. Got up there on top of the mountain. Was going to go and pay our $5 to get into the park because the restaurant's actually inside the park. They were closed because the power was out. So I did not do my due diligence and call the park and make sure they were open. Lesson learned. And that goes for anybody else. If you're going to do any road tripping or anything like that, and you've got an idea about where you want to go, call and make sure they're going to be open.
Well, so what did you do?
You always come up with a plan B.
Okay.
When plan A on road trips goes to crap, you figure out a plan B. You improvise, adapt, and overcome. We went down to another little franchise that I have learned over the course of me working out of Boaz. There is a smaller little franchise called the Gridiron. They serve a lot of, for lack of better terms, bar food. Okay. Wings. They make a fantastic chicken quesadilla that I wholeheartedly support and endorse. I had their version of loaded fries. I really honestly wasn't that fond of, but it's basically potato wedges instead of fries. And I really wasn't fond of that. So
Yeah.
I think theirs was called triple threat loaded fries or something like that. I do not endorse them. My grandmother had a hamburger steak and some vegetables. That hamburger steak was awesome. I had some wings. We all shared one of those chicken quesadillas. Their chicken quesadilla is just fantastic. I love it. Real big, humongous chunks of chicken inside of it. enough cheese to make you constipated for 2 days. It's amazing. Had those cheese fries and everything. Everybody just kindly ate off everything, and it ended up being a real good day. On the way back, my grandmother and my great aunt started in on one another, just aggravating one another, kind of like guys do, busting balls, poking fun, kind of like what we do.
Right.
Yeah. Them two had me laughing so hard I was crying. My grandmother was on top of her game today, son. Let me tell you. I wish to God I'd have had a recorder going, because if I did, it would be airing on this show. It was that good.
She's putting down some good Rodney Dangerfield type stuff.
I don't even think Rodney could have held a candle to her today, but I'm serious. She is on top of her game. It was great. There's moments like that I just treasure. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
It's just like doing what me and Stacy did yesterday. It's all about sharing moments and having memories with folks that you're close to and that you love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a big firm believer in that. Your body can go. Hopefully your mind don't. But that the moments that you share and the memories that you make is part of what helps you live on after you pass, because people continue to tell your stories.
I think, and I'd like to cover that sometime on an episode, or maybe even a couple of episodes. I don't know. But I've been studying a lot the past 6 months to a year. Well, just some different philosophies. And I hear from the same thing from several different types of philosophies. And it's on being able to be present and to live in the present. I'm trying to think of the term. I guess
living in the now, maybe.
Yeah, that's a term that's used for it a lot. Living in the now, experiencing your life right now. We tend to think about, okay, what I got to do here, what I got to do here. We're planning our life away, or we live in the past and we think about regrets. We think about this. Sometimes we think about good memories, but oftentimes we're looking back on things that are negative. So, but living in the moment, because really that's all you've got, because the past is gone. It's gone. That's done. And the future, maybe you have the future, maybe you don't. Who knows? But not to say you just don't care. That's not what I'm advocating.
Right.
But you're pretty good at that. That's something I have consciously tried to work on. I'm not good at. I tend to go the wrong way in both directions. But I think that's important, man. That is really important for our happiness, for our mental health, and for the people around us.
Well, I appreciate that compliment. I have come a long way in a short while, but I'm nowhere near where I need to be, and I know that's something that I've been dealing with for a little while. I'm looking into a lot of different philosophies and everything too, and it mainly because I think I have shared with you this several years ago, and it's still something that I'm trying to work on. I remember telling you at one point in time that I looked myself in the mirror and I couldn't stand what I saw.
Yes.
I looked at myself in the mirror and I couldn't recognize what I saw back then.
Right.
I'm still working on it, but I am so much further along than what I was. That's also one of those things where, in my opinion, that's something that you work on every day of your life. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm on my way.
Right.
And
Right.
I've not only on some things do I have to figure out which way I want to go, but I also got to figure out how to get there and then make the decision to get there, if that makes any sense.
Well, that makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
But yeah, to go along.
Well, let me just say this about the people that know Terry, the people that don't know Terry. We've talked a lot over the years. I know losing your dad was a major event in your life. And I think it made you a little bit more introspective and a little bit more philosophical. And, the conversations we've had, generally, I always know. I never doubt because I just know. You know when someone is being sincere and when they are telling you the truth about who they are or how they feel. You just know it. You know it when you hear it. I've always said the truth don't care who tells it. It just wants to be told. You've told me some things I remember because they impacted me. And I've thought about some of those things at different times, just along the lines of what we're talking about. So I think that's something we can talk about more in the future. I think it would help people because I know, like I said, I'm one of those guys. I'm a serial planner. If I think about the past, it generally, I either long for something that's gone and not coming back, or I regret something and it just makes me upset. If I think about the future, well, that makes me a little bit happier because I'm planning, this, then this step, then this step. Ooh, that's great. But I can't really enjoy it because I'm looking toward it and not experiencing what's going on around me right now and appreciating it. So I think that's a really important thing for us to talk about.
And we will. You were talking about, and thank you for those kind words. You were talking about wanting to delve into some philosophy and stuff like that. And I think that, and I'm starting to actually get into some different types of philosophy. I think that some of those great thinkers, some of those great philosophers of back in the day are greatly missed in today's society.
Yeah, I agree.
Critical thinking is something that is so needed in this day and age. It's like it's a lost art.
Yeah.
Discussion, just like, and that's what we've talked about before. It's critical thinking, discussion, deep thinking. We've got to get those things back, or I believe those are groundworks on how great our society was at one point in time. And
Where I think it went wrong, it all has to do with the synthesizer, the keyboard. I think that's where the world went wrong because if you remember the 80s, and I may remember it just a little bit better than you, unfortunately, but but pop music, you didn't hear pianos anymore. You heard synthesizers.
yes,
Okay. Now follow me because I'm going on into a crazy direction.
we're going into the weeds.
We're going into the weeds, and it was it's just like instant gratification. Listen to all these strange sounds I can make on this machine, and I just think things get lost. Now people can go on and use a device that transforms their voice. Sometimes they're using auto tune that makes them sound better than what they actually are, which I know what I'm saying is very silly, but our instant gratification society or what we've become is just even terms there. We even have that type of terminology. It has even slipped into warfare, shock and awe. Why was that used? Well, I'm sure a marketing firm recommended that. They said, hey, this is going to sound really cool and it's going to be popular. Shock and awe sounds powerful. And then you heard that term even translated into other things.
Right.
And it's just like, it's like the marketing guys took over and everything upon everything is marketed to mass consumption. I think it tends to, like you were saying, the critical thinking skills, the critical thinkers, that tends to be, that takes too long, man. Just like a lot of people, and we're going to talk a little bit about this here on the show. When you talk about politics, I remember years ago, the disagreements would be over policy.
Right.
Now the disagreements are over the most basic fundamental things we identify with.
Yeah.
And it's gone from having to think through those policies and try to understand what's the truth and what's, typical, this double speak or double dealing. We don't even think that far anymore. We just think of, okay, these guys say this, 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 and this. Okay, I'm one of them. I match them. They match me. So that's what I'm going to go with, full steam ahead.
Right.
And it's just got us at loggerheads, man. And when you start talking, when you have a thoughtful conversation, you can disagree. Thank God we can disagree.
Absolutely.
You can have a thoughtful conversation and learn from each other. And I've been guilty of being the guy that gets too fired up, gets too emotional, and it embarrasses me when later afterwards I'm embarrassed I acted like that, and I've tried to work on that.
It happens to the best of us,
Oh yeah,
and just to go along with what you're saying, it's okay to be able to disagree. We're not lemmings.
right.
We're not just programmed to, I get to do this. I believe in this. It's not that way. You have
That's actually a pretty good representation you did there of the thinking.
Sad but true.
Yeah.
It's sad but true. Whenever I was growing up, my dad taught me on politics and stuff. You don't vote party, you vote person.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, what does this person believe? What does this person think of this issue, that issue, this issue? Okay. Does that line up with how you believe? If it does, vote for that person. If it don't, vote for the other one.
Right.
It's almost like it has done, just like you were saying, and I just want to elaborate on what I think you're saying, okay? It's almost like it has went from that to you're not voting for person anymore. It's all about the party.
Yes, it's about the party, because the party, you can take that and stamp it like a brand and say, okay, if you will support this one thing, all your dreams will come true, and we're all going to be this, and we're all going to be, it's just going to be one way.
Right.
But you and I both know that's not how life really works.
No, it's not.
It's not. There are no clear cut. Well, I say there are no. Generally, there's a lot of gray,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of gray. And a lot of times people have to work together, give up a little on this side, give up a little on that side to accomplish what's good for everybody. Everybody is a
Right.
group.
Right.
And, so I think we've lost that, man. I think that's been purged to where you have to be all in this way or all in that way, or you're just milk toast.
What's milk toast?
Milk toast. I'll be honest with you. I really don't know what milk toast is, but I hear it used as a term. A lot of times people will say that, or they'll say that someone is too vanilla. In other words, you're just, what, you're mamby-pamby. You're neither hot and you're neither cold. And even people even use the verse out of the Bible, where it says, if you're not hot or cold, but that's not what it's saying. Yeah, that's not referring to things of man. That's referring to commitment to God and to Christ. But
right.
But people will use that, and they really think that there is some type of strange virtue in being all the way one side, would not consider supporting someone from another party because of this, or because somebody 50 states away said this a month ago. So therefore, it's just foolishness. It makes it to where it's making it harder for us to actually govern ourselves. When it becomes an all-in thing as to whether either one party's in control ramming things down our throat, or the other party's in control ramming things down our throat, brother, that's not a good model.
It's not. I heard Michael Savage say this, and it stuck with me. For those of you that have never listened to Michael Savage, he is in the Radio Hall of Fame. He's one of the, Jason, help me out on this and see if you agree. He's one of the most neutral people that I think I have ever come across in politics.
Michael Savage, and normally I kind of turned off on the political talk radio guys years ago, because
Right.
they all seem, a lot of them that I heard were preaching out of the same hymn, and there just wasn't a lot of truth. There was some truth, but Savage, he actually was the most middle of the road guy. Now, do I agree with everything he says? Of course not. But he was the most middle of the road guy. And plus, he talked about some things that I could understand, I
Right.
could relate to. One of my favorite shows of his that I listened to, and he got into, and he's very entertaining also. He makes me laugh. But he was talking, I mean, it wasn't even about politics. He was talking about why there are no great, just male singers, the great baritones. Like, we used to have Sinatra, and we have Michael Bublé now.
Right.
But, we used to have just American singers. You had a lot of great male baritone singers. They were just crooners, or you can call them what you want.
Right.
But they were great singers, and everyone could agree on, yeah, man, that's good. Who doesn't want to hear Dean Martin sing Everybody Needs Somebody Sometimes? So, and he was talking about that, and it was fascinating to listen to him. And so when he got me, when he got that and started talking about what it was like for him growing up, I was like, you know what? I can dig this. I can dig this guy. And, sometimes he says things about politics that I'm like, I don't think so. And then sometimes I'm like, this guy isn't a hack.
Right.
This, he's really not a party guy.
I listened to him pretty religiously since I found him. I was a late bloomer to his show. And come January, he's not going to be on the radio anymore. He's going to be he's going to be strictly on podcast.
Wow. Podcast. You know
Dave,
what?
It's not just, I don't want to speak out of tune. If you want to find out why he's not going to be on radio anymore, go check out his show, some of his back episodes. Yeah, I'm not going to even remotely try to get into that, but he
was banned from speaking in Britain for a while. I do know that.
Yes, he was.
And I don't even know why, but
they didn't want to hear what he had to say.
I guess so.
That goes back to what we were saying earlier about critical thinking and not always seeing eye to eye and everything.
Right.
It's okay. Just because we don't agree don't mean that person needs to be canceled or done away with or banned or anything like that. Where I was going with it, even bringing him up, he was talking about how a bird can only fly straight if it has a right wing and a left wing. They have to be going at the same time. If one's going when the other one's going or not going, it's just going to go in circles.
Right.
And I was like, God, that's so simple, but that's so profound. This two-party system that we have, and I know a lot of people are wanting it to be multiple parties and everything, and parliamentary. Just from my little bit of knowledge about how Parliament works, the two-party system isn't the greatest thing in the world, but to me, it's a whole lot better than the parliamentary system.
I think Winston Churchill was the one who said that democracy is the worst form of government in the world, but it's the best we got at the time.
Yes. I like the two-party system. Would I like to see the Libertarian Party become more prominent? Yes, I would. I feel like with me, myself, personally, I identify more so with the Libertarian Party than I do with the other two. But at the end of the day, let's be realistic. They're all the same. The only difference is some lean a little bit more right, at least whenever they talk in front of a camera, than the ones that lean left. You follow the money, you're gonna see all of them there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're gonna see. I mean, if that was not the case, a lot of the things that we normal people complain about and have complained about for years, too much money in politics, too much lobbying in politics, big pharma making too much money, prices too high on medicine in this country. I could go down a laundry list of things that everybody in the country, most everybody can agree on, yeah, that's got to change.
Yeah.
And none of it changes.
Nope.
None of it changes. So you tell me,
if they're not both in on the fix.
That was one of the things that I had mentioned in an earlier episode whenever I was talking about why, when Trump ran, I started paying attention. You've seen the old establishments on both sides. When was the last time you seen both sides come together on anything?
9/11.
That was it. You're right. You're right.
Yep,
Absolutely right.
it.
I just want you to know this has been a great conversation. And I'm really happy that we were able to just sit down and have a good old-fashioned discussion, my brother.
Yeah. Let's have a good talk. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I've really had a good time.
The links that are shared on the Porch Matters Facebook page, Facebook group, Twitter page, and Instagram page. Please, for the love of God, share them all day. Let's get some more people listening to us. Let's get some more people active in what we're doing here because we're growing. I just want y'all to know that. And it wouldn't be possible without y'all spreading the word, either by telling your friends, telling your coworkers, sharing the links on social media, sharing the episodes that we put out to you every other week on social media, or just hijacking somebody in your family's phone, downloading an app, putting it on there and setting it to automatic download, however you have to do it.
Down here, we don't say what street do you live on. We say which road do you live on. What's the name of the road you live on?
Dilworth Bend Road.
Okay, folks, this is the fastest growing podcast on Dilworth Bend Road. You want to be a part of it. Don't leave your neighbors out. Don't leave your family out. Let them in on it. This ain't no secret we're trying to keep.
That's right. And we appreciate it. And we appreciate you for listening. We appreciate you for sharing the links. We appreciate you spreading the word about the show. Please keep doing so. And jump on the Facebook pages, jump on Instagram, jump on Twitter. Jason, you got anything else to add before we wrap this up?
I think you covered it, buddy. I think you covered it well. And I appreciate the time with you tonight. I enjoyed it. Look forward to our next time together and just keeping it going, keeping the conversation going. And please be civil and don't see another American as your enemy.
Couldn't agree anymore. Don't forget the hashtag FatBoyApproved. Jefferson's Wings or the Gridiron, they are not paying me to do that, but Fat Boy is going to tell you where to find some good food.
He will.
That's all the time we have for this episode. Please like the page and join the group on Facebook at Porch Matters Podcast. Please subscribe or follow us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, or the platform of your choice so you don't miss an episode. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please rate the show and leave us a review if you have the time. Thank you very much for listening, and catch us next time right here on Porch Matters.